50.
All right, all Cat 4 racers should be at the start line. All Cat 4 racers at the start line. You're a Cat 3 racer. You should be hovering around in the parking lot. If you're a Cat 3 racer, you should be going in the bathroom.
What is up, everyone? The 2025 Crosse Omnium is less than 1 month away, which means it is finally time to talk about my race footage from the 2024 Crosse Omnium last year. The Crosse Omnium is a 3-day stage race in La Crosse, Wisconsin that's held the first weekend in May every year. If you don't know what a stage race is, it's basically like a Mario Kart tournament for bikes pretty much, where the entire event is made up of multiple races. You can register for one or all of them, and depending on how well you place in each of those races, you get points, and at the end of the weekend, there is an overall winner of the Omnium. The Crosse Omnium is unique in that each stage is a different format. So on Friday, there is a time trial, Saturday is a road race, and Sunday is a criterium. And we're looking at the time trial today. This is a short uphill time trial. So the course is like 2.3-ish miles, so a little bit more than 3.6K-ish. And it is mostly uphill. I think the average gradient for the entire thing is like 4.3% or something, but the uphill portion, you're sitting between 5 and 10% gradient the entire time. There's like one major turn on the course, at which point it starts to level off, and it's actually kind of like rolling and actually a little bit downhill for the final stretch of the course. The road conditions are not amazing, as you can see here. There's a lot of orange spray paint on the road, but you're going slow enough on the way up that it's like not a huge deal to find decent pavement and make sure you're not going through any big potholes or anything. This is my first time doing the Omnium, and I was pretty impressed with it. It's pretty well organized. And they do the time trial things that you want. So like you saw at the start of the race, you get the countdown and someone's holding your seat so you can start clipped in. You don't have to worry about clipping in, which is nice. It makes you feel like a real racer. Another thing that's cool about this is that there is no center line rule. So the road is closed. So you can see here, I'm going to cross the center line to take the inside line on this corner. The officials tell you that you're supposed to yield to people who are doing their race on the way up when you are on the way down. And when you're on the way up, you can expect people to yield to you. I was still not really trusting people and kind of leaving enough space on the left side for somebody to get by. But besides that, you get to use the entire road, so you should, take the racing line and try to find the shortest possible route to the top. So how did this race go for me? Well, I was a little sick coming into the weekend, which is kind of a bummer, but I felt, good enough to race, obviously. And my bike fitness is like the best it's ever been, coming into this weekend. So I finished with a time of 10 minutes and 47 seconds. And to do that, I did 320 watts normalized for that time. So that's an all-time 10-minute power PR for me. And at how much I weighed at this race, that was roughly 4 watts per kilo. For a Cat 4 cyclist, that's like pretty average. But obviously for me, a triathlete that trains 2 other sports, it's like I said, that's the all-time power PR for me. So I'm definitely pleased with that. But that was good enough to get me 19th out of 23 for the time trial. So yeah, I was definitely expecting to do a little bit better than that, especially considering how much power I was able to put down. But this race, I think on the website it calls itself something like the Premier Midwest Spring Cycling Classic or something like that. And yeah, it definitely holds up to that. I mean, this is not a local race. People come from Chicago to race this. People come from the Twin Cities to race this. And so you can't definitely expect to show up here and just do well. Your winter training definitely needs to be on point if you want to be competitive here, especially for the time trial where it's all just fitness based. So yeah, we're about halfway up the climbing portion now, and I feel like I'm doing a pretty decent job of pacing myself. I'm definitely breathing hard, as you can hear. My heart rate's, you know, getting up there. But as we'll see a little bit later, you definitely want to make sure you are leaving something in the tank for the top section because of how much faster it is and how flat it is. So yeah, let's jump ahead and take a look at that. So we're coming up here to really the only corner that's on this course, and you take this tight turn and then it really kicks uphill here. This is like the final little kick before it flattens out, and you get a little bit of rolling hills and actually kind of some downhill sections. So when you're pacing yourself, it's really important that you leave something in the tank for this top section here, because as you'll see, once we get over the crest of this final kick, the speed really starts to pick up, and you really want to make sure you have something left in the tank to be able to make sure you're keeping your speed as high as possible on this section here. So again, I'm using the entire road, but I'm still leaving enough space for these people that are coming the other way to get by. And yeah, like I said, the speed is ramping up quick here. One other thing to note, I mentioned the road conditions on the climb. This upper section, the road is pretty smooth, but you'll see in a second here, there are some barriers right there. Those little, not barriers, but like speed bumps. I think there's 3 or 4 sets of those. And yeah, if you have the opportunity to pre-ride the course or pre-drive the course, I recommend it, and make a note of where those speed bumps are, because they're not exactly consistent. Like the space, there was another one that just went by. The space between them, here's another one here, is not the same for all of them. There's like, you know, some of them have a good amount of space between them on both sides. Some of them it's a little bit tighter. But you definitely want to, you know, make sure you're spotting those well ahead of time and making sure your line is accounting for those, because yeah, as you can see here, we're starting to get up to speed. You know, we're getting close to, I think my max speed on this section is 35 miles an hour that I hit, and you do not want to hit those speed bumps. When I was coming back down, somebody who was on this section during their race hit the speed bumps and had a very bad crash. It was definitely a weekend-ending crash for them. I don't know if they like broke anything or anything like that. Oh, that one was close. I don't know if they broke anything, but yeah, it was a rough crash and definitely ended their weekend. So if you have the chance to pre-ride and take a look at those, that would definitely be worth your time. And here is the finish line, 204 beats per minute. Oh my gosh, that's definitely a all-time heart rate for me too. But yeah, that's the time trial, 19th place. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one where we'll talk about the road race.